Welcome to the Cool Fireman Podcast, a virtual firehouse kitchen table with Matt, Adam, Brian, Doug, and Freddie, where they discuss everything that matters in today's fire service. Now let's get to the show.
It's not a mustache.
Or that beard, that scruffy, that white fuzz.
Hey, you take that back.
I'm not taking anything back.
You better.
You need to go to the store and get a Bic and clean that mess off of your face.
Hey, it's my playoff beard. All right.
Yeah, well. Hey, I love that video where you were cooking outside. Did you see that I won the bell too at the Blackstone?
Yes.
Social Summit. I got to get it hung up here in the office.
Okay, that was my next question. Did you each get one in the group?
So there was 4 of us in the group, and everyone in the group got a bell.
Nice.
So that and $3 bought me a cup of coffee this week at McDonald's. So it really doesn't mean anything, but it means everything.
Right.
Yeah, folks at church today gave me a little smack saying that you needed to deflate my head a little bit. But no, it's cool. I mean, it was a really cool experience. So
heck yeah. I was envious.
A lot of fun. If you haven't gone and watched the video, you need to watch it because just the way that it was done was pretty wild, right? I mean, it's like just like on the TV show. Hey, you've got legit 90 seconds. Here's your table of food. Pick out stuff. And so I'm like, y'all, we got to be prepared for a secret ingredient. And then they were like, all right, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, switch tables to your left. And you're like, what? And so everything, and they're like, you have 60 seconds. You're going to be cooking with whatever the table to your left has. And so it was like everything that we had prepared, now we had to do totally different. So it was wild.
I bet. I've never done it. I've never done what you're saying. But you remember I was reached out to by Next Level Chef, the Gordon Ramsay show. And I never went any further because I kind of pussed out because I was like, I don't know if I'm smart enough to do it. I don't know if I was standing in front of a whole bunch of food. I don't know. I would just, my brain would be like ADDing out. It would just be like pasta, Brussels sprouts, potatoes. I'm like, you know what I mean? And he would be like, so what did you pick, Matt? And I'm like, fucking add the kitchen
I don't
sink.
know. And it was so cool because my table, we had obviously, and we had never cooked together. So we got meshed together the night before. And so we had some very talented folks that was at the table. And so we had never cooked before. And so to be able to blend together was 3 guys and 1 girl. And so, the dynamics of what came together, and it was kind of funny. I was telling somebody today, one of the guys, I was responsible for cooking 2 eggs and they needed to be over easy, right? That's the way that those chefs like it. And so we had kind of this breakfast rice hash, if that makes sense. So we had like shrimp breakfast hash. So it had potatoes and onions and mushrooms. And so they wanted these, what they call drippy, sexy eggs, where you bust into the yolk and it just, all that goodness comes out. That's the way they want their eggs. And so I'm trying to dome these and steam it, but I had cut the griddle off because you don't want to burn the underside, right? They don't want to get this burnt taste or this crispiness. They want a soft, perfect egg on the griddle. And so the guy's like, don't let it burn. And I looked back at him after about the 3rd time he said it. And I said, I've got it. Right. But the tensions are so real. And on last week's episode, for those who haven't listened, it is truly like a fire ground out there, right? Like you just mesh together. And if you have 3 cooks and 3 firefighters and you put them on a fire ground, they can be from anywhere in the country and kind of they'll get through it. And it'll work, and that's the beauty of it. And it was a blast, absolute blast. So the people that are listening to this that have no idea what we're talking about, Brian is part of the, what is it called, the Blackstone Griddle Crew.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're a part of that for social media content, and you're, part of their marketing team or whatever you want to call that. But you went to a social summit that was put on by Blackstone, and they put, all these people into teams, and Brian was in charge of cooking and stuff like that. And they made content on their Blackstones and stuff like that, which seemed really cool.
Yeah, make sure you give East Coast Kellys a follow. We're on all those different social media platforms. We'd love to have it. And, there's I follow a lot of Firehouse cooks that do indoor, outdoor cooks as well. So I'll try to share their content. I'm trying to be better at that. So not just outdoor cooks, but also the Firehouse cooks. Freddie, that's how I found Freddie. That's how I found Matt. And that's kind of how we all came together. So, yeah, we'd love to give you guys a follow and share your stuff as well. So if you follow me and you got a social media page, I'll follow you. So
nice.
Would love
Beautiful.
it. Yep.
All right. Well, with that being said, welcome back to the Cool Fireman podcast. If you were listening to the day that it drops, it is Friday. Whatever.
Yeah, it's like the month of July is almost over. Yeah.
It's crazy. I know Safer's coming up real close for us. But for the topic today, we're going to be talking about firehouse maintenance and projects. And then everything like that kind of has to do with that kind of topic. So it's, how it's evolved over the last 10, 15, 20 years about, guys that are coming into the fire service that were in the trades, and so they needed a wall. Like they would frame up a wall in the firehouse. If they needed new flooring, there was a tile guy that freaking put tile down, like that's how it worked, but it's totally different nowadays. And, I never really, I started my fire department journey about 20 years ago, and I still didn't feel like there was a lot of trades. I didn't really learn any as a volunteer, never really like clung to anybody that could teach me that kind of stuff. I don't remember that. And it was, when I first started, it was for a big department. But anyway, so that's going to be the topic for the day. We're going to get into that in a second. Let's do some housekeeping real quick, Brian. So obviously today is Brian and I. We always kind of talked about how we wouldn't do a podcast unless there was three of us. But, it's the summertime. Summer's for suckers. Adam's out with his kids and wasn't available to the evening. And Doug is building a barn with his father-in-law, and so he's got stuff going on. So we figured we'd just jump right on here. I came up with a topic, so I said, let's just do it, Brian. Brian and I were talking some Safer stuff. We're doing a leadership class at Safer August 9th. Friday.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so we got together a little bit and talked a little bit about that, but we figured we'd jump on and hit record.
August 8th,
so sponsor,
by the way. August 8th. August 8th. Yeah, in Raleigh, North Carolina.
So sponsors, Unky's Seasoning. Of course, Adam's not here right now, but we all.
He's still got a sale. The Fat Apparel. Our former, our guest Derek, who had Fat Apparel. Man, that was a good episode. He's got a special combo sale right now with the Salty Fireman, a shirt, and a solo cup. You have to go check out his page, but that's only available on his website. So you need to go.
Heck yeah. It's funny. I just got off the trailer for 5 nights. And for the last 2 nights, we went down to this city called Santee. It's in southern San Diego.
Yeah.
And we were at Santee Lakes. It was amazing. Yeah. What a great campground. And so we were down there, and I walk into my mom's new trailer. She's like, check this out. Let's do the 360. I walk in there, and there's a little spice rack. And what spices are on the rack? Unky's seasoning, dude. Love it. I took a picture of it and sent it to Adam. He's like, oh my God, this just made my day,
Yes.
And so she had all of his seasonings there. And I was like, oh my God, Unky's. She's like, that's all we use. She's like, Unky's is all we use. And she's like, in fact, I'm gonna cash in on this. I think it's the Salty Fireman that's still like 50% off or something.
Yeah, and he's got a sale on sample packs too. So if you're on the fence, you can get the sample pack. It's like the 4 or 5 OG ones for like I think it's like $15 or something like that.
Yeah, it's like get on to Unky's Seasoning.
Yeah. Speaking of that, little funny story about Santee. That was one of my first projects as a consulting gig. Did a standard cover or something like that. I can't remember for it, but that's a cool place.
Yeah, Santee's kind of cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. And the Burn Box. Tom at the Burn Box. We should be getting. Oh no, we already got July's Burn Box.
But the Collectors Club is in, and it's all North Carolina coins. If you haven't got yours yet, I'm not going to steal it. But again, 2 top shelf coins in this month's FD Collectors Club. And the July Burn Box was sweet anyways. The cup, the flag, the other swag items, always top shelf when it comes to the Burn Box and FD Collectors Club.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Need to snag it.
Yep, go get your Burn Box subscription. You will love it. And every time you get the email saying, here's your tracking number, you're like, yeah, it's coming. But of course, me on the West Coast, I'm a loser. And I don't get my Burn Box or my FD Collectors Club for at least 3 to 4 days after you guys do.
Yep, so we have to keep quiet about it. That's why I didn't want to give them a heads up about the coins.
Yeah. Hey, quick shout out. And I'm going to give a shout out of a shout out. So we got a comment on Spotify from Courtney. Hey guys, thank you for the shout out. It made my day this morning on my way to work. I always enjoy listening. All right. Well, there you go, Courtney Jordan. There's your second shout out of a shout out. So I hope we made your day again.
Nice. Did she say which department she was with?
No. I don't know where she is. Just a little picture of her there on Spotify's. And then Tanner,
from another Mista.
Yeah, sister from another Mista. Tanner's always a contributor there on Spotify, and Colt, he was back. He said, "I appreciate the tips on the hiring cycle." So that's what we talked about at the end of last episode. So that was cool, and it was cool to have. Actually, yeah, that was 2 episodes ago.
2 episodes, yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, little shout outs for them. And I think that's, just remember all of our podcasts are streamed in video, Spotify, on Spotify and on YouTube. So please subscribe. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. It helps us out.
Can I give a selfless plug here for a second? Selfless for the whole show. Y'all, one of the best things that you can do is boost our algorithm by doing a favor and hitting that like button. And also commenting on our, different platforms, no matter where you're at. What that does is that pushes us to the top. And if you were to ask ChatGPT for the top 10 leadership podcasts, depending on which platform and AI you ask, we're in it. And the reasons why is because of the impressions and the interactions that you do. So if you like the content that you're listening here, just that simple little thing will help us lead us to the top. So we'd be loving you if you do that for us.
Thank you, Brian. We don't say that enough. I don't think we say that enough. And that's because, I talked to Greg Rudiger about this, with the health and wellness and stuff. I like things to just happen organically. Like if people want to like us or want to listen to us, I just want them to organically like it. You know what I mean? I don't want to sit here and tell people to like it, but I think that that's kind of part of the game that we have to get better at. It's just because it helps us out, and we want to reach as many people as we can with our fun community. The community that we've built already in the 2.5 years we've been doing this is freaking amazing. And we've said it before, and we'll say it every episode if we have to, but we love you. Like we love these people that like Courtney and Tanner and Ricky Bird and all these people that we've known for a long time. And we get to meet in person. I know that we're going to get meet a couple people in person at Safer, which is super cool. Mm-hmm. But we seriously love the community that we built. And that's why we did this. It's not only to build the community, but then continue good conversation. So anyways, on to the topic, Brian. So I came up with this topic, and it's been like a funny topic.
Ooh, moment of silence.
Oh, sorry. I was sitting right here in bold letters too. It says moment of silence, and I scanned right over it. Okay. We're going to do a moment of silence for all of our brothers and sisters that we may have lost over the past week.
There you go.
All right. Well said.
Hey, the week that I was gone and I was driving back from Utah, so I was listening and I was like, are they going to do the moment of silence? Are they going to do the moment of silence? They're not going to do the moment of silence. And y'all did. So you know how I am about the moment of silence. Like it's my thing. But anyways, and I know it's our thing. I shouldn't say it's my thing. It's our thing. But it's literally one of those things where I know that how guilty we are. How guilty we feel if we don't do it. So that was an accountability moment playing out in real life between Matt and myself, because that's how literally we feel about it. Yeah. We know how important it is to us.
You think that after 116 episodes of doing this, that it would just roll off the tongue every time, but my ADD brain, I'm trying to think of 15 different things to how to keep this podcast going. And that's one thing that dropped off, unfortunately. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
It's okay. So. It's okay. That's why we have accountability, right? Accountability partners.
That's right. Okay, back to the topic. So Firehouse maintenance and projects. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is we have a lot of people that are getting into the fire service or new to the fire service, and they like to listen to our tips and our work experience that we have. I don't know, you've been in for over 20 years. I've been in for 20 years, whatever. We have quite a bit of years of experience in the different topics that we talk about. And so one thing that's changed a lot over the time in the fire service is guys coming in from trades. And, I'd mentioned this earlier in the podcast, but guys that do tile, guys that are woodworkers, guys that paint. I mean, there's trades out there that they used to do either in the military or on their own and for a contractor. And then they thought, oh, I want to be a fireman. And they got into it and bam, like now they've kind of been able to blend their trades in with the fire service. But nowadays you're getting guys like myself who worked as a server at a restaurant. I was a host, then I was to-goes, I did bartending and all this stuff. And then I jump in, to be a volunteer firefighter, but I never got that trade experience.
Right.
And I'm sure that it's different all throughout the country. And again, that's why we have these conversations on a podcast, because it's like I said, it could change from county to county, to state, from the East Coast to the West Coast. I want to hear from you guys. Obviously, it's just you and I today, Brian, but I thought that this would be a kind of a fun conversation to have as far as like, how do you get stuff done around the firehouse? And what I mean is, if something breaks, we're firemen, fix it, right? Like we were fix it type people. We don't like things. We don't like keeping dishes in the sink, or if somebody does, we yell at them. It's where that's just the type of people that we are. And in my department specifically, it kind of depends on the size of the project. I would imagine that throughout the country, there's going to be people that say, we still cut our own grass, right? Like you were saying earlier, Brian. Mm-hmm. We still cut our bushes back. We cut our palm trees, if you have them. We have palm trees.
We don't have palm trees. We have pine trees. Lots of pine trees.
A different P. Yeah. Right. Yeah. We got the palm fronds, man. Those things are gnarly. But what happens if your sprinklers stop working? Okay. Like we all know that a sprinkler, all it is PVC pipe running underneath the ground, that something's probably busted or somebody ran over the sprinkler head and it just needs to be replaced, But in my department, my city, they'd rather us call the city and have public works come out and look at it and examine it and then come up with a plan and fix it. And so that's kind of bled into other parts of our life, as far as just any type of project that goes on around the firehouse. And I kind of don't like it. I don't like it at all because of what I said earlier is like, we're fix it type people. It's funny because one of our chiefs who has left us now, but I'll go, hey chief, this is the garbage disposal is not working right. And he'll look at me and he'll go, what would you do if you're at home and your garbage disposal didn't work? Like, what would you do? You know what I mean? Like, do the same thing, But like, if the garbage disposal stops working, we call Public Works. We call a plumber. We've got American Plumbing in town where I work, and they'll come out for $1 billion an hour, and they'll fix it. With prevailing wage in Laguna Beach, man, that's a nice little wage to come fix a garbage disposal. But they don't even want us touching it, and it's like, damn, I just think I don't know. I don't like that part of it. I don't like that part of the progression that I've seen in the fire service as far as like, station projects.
I have so much mixed emotions about this, right? Because in my mind, I go back 20. So you said over 20 years. I'm as a volunteer till now, it's 27, right? So I started in 1998. My volunteer house, we cut the grass, we did fire hydrants, we did everything at the Volley House. On the career side, we've been doing that. We don't cut the grass there on the career side. But at the same time, 25 years ago, when I started at the career department, our guys would paint on duty. We painted the firehouse on duty, right? We had painters, we had floor guys. Now we didn't do the flooring in the firehouse, but like if we needed to strip and wax the floors, we did them. Now we don't do that, right? We don't, like, we mop them, we sweep them, we mop them, we maintain them, but we don't do that. Like, I mean, we may change out some of the light bulbs, but if we have a light fixture that's bad, like you said, we call Public Works. And so I have mixed emotions about that because it's a double-edged sword for me, because part of me says that when I sit down at the kitchen table with the firefighters and I hear them say, Chief, we have too much stuff to do in a normal day and we're too busy running fire calls and, we got all these reports to do and everything else. I hear it. I hear it loud and clear and I understand it. And I agree, but I also think that it builds camaraderie, right? To fix things, to talk processes through. Some of those little things that you could do together can also help on the bigger problems that you face out on a fire scene. Because if you can't fix a garbage disposal, right? How can you fix, somebody mangled up in a car, right? So it's a good thing, good small thing to work through. But at the same time, I would also go back and say, if you don't have maxed out the number of training hours that you need, you don't need to be fixing a garbage disposal, right? So train on tabletop on the mangled up car and let Public Works worry about the garbage disposal, right? So that's why I said I'm so mixed on this, because I see it, right? It would be different if you had all the training hours that you were done, if you were busy all the time, if things truly happened the way that they did. But the reality of it is that's not always the case, right? I make a good secondary career in owning my own company of going in and telling people how to tell their story better. We in the fire service suck at going in and documenting how we do things day in and day out, right? So we're doing training, we're doing documentation, but we don't write it down, right? So when people come back and go, no, you can't do that, it's because we didn't document the 30 minutes outside of a post-incident critique, right? We did it. We did it out in the bay, right? We talked about it last week about how we solved some problems, right? Like, hey, man, did you hear that call that 15 ran? Yeah, they should have done this and should have done that, whatever. The armchair quarterback, the captain should have logged it, right? As some post-incident critique or whatever, but they didn't. And so people start asking, what do you do with your day, right?
I love that.
And so like that's why I said I'm so on the fence about this, because there's a million different things of like, yeah, you should do it because it does this, but you can't do it because of this reason. And, the reality of it is that the trade piece of this, and then you have to worry about the quality piece of this. Mike Rowe, everybody knows that, right? The dirty jobs guy. I was telling Matt I was sick. And so I was scrolling things and hit one of his, I follow him on social media on some stuff, and he's big on trades. Huge. In fact, he's got a foundation about it. Mm-hmm. And I think he said just electricians, there will be a need for submarines, just making federal submarines, electricians. 140,000 is what there's needed right now, and they don't have them. 140,000 electricians is what they need right now, and we don't have them. And my mind is blown to that, because at the end of the day, I'm also thinking to myself, why would we not put those people that are fixing our light switches on a sub to defend our country and let the firefighters do it, right? We've taught ourselves a trade, right? And we're ensuring our freedoms. But at the same time, I'm like, man, it goes back to, that's why I said I'm so conflicted about this. I mean, where are you at? I know what you said, but like, taking all that into consideration, right? After the white shirt perspective, what do you think now?
I love it. I love what you said, because I love that there's a line and it's like, well, I could go this way because of this, and I can go this way because of that. I think that firemen are very proud of what we do, right? And it's not just, helping people. It's wiping down the rig, and it's maintaining the station, and it's all about pride. I can do it. I don't need anybody else to fucking do it for me. And that's like, that's in us. Like, that's in the blood, the courage, the integrity, the ethic, all that kind of stuff. That's what firemen are. That's the badge that we wear, or in the patch, that's what it is to be a fireman. And we will do it. I will cut the grass. I don't need Public Works to come cut my grass. And we still try to do as much as we can. I mean, I've painted a room at the Firehouse before, and it's just, it's what is it? Beg for forgiveness. It's not ask for permission. It's beg for forgiveness. Hey, what'd you guys do? We painted the room because it was an absolute nightmare. All right, cool. Good job. But next time, that's not how this thing works. Like, we're going to call Public Works. We're going to make sure that we get 3 bids. And it's like, what? Like, what is going on? But what you said about what you said about having the time to do it. So maybe that's what's changed. Maybe over the past 20 years, our call volume's gone up. Okay. I bet you that I bet you if you asked 100 firemen across the entire country, they'd say, yeah, I would say probably 99 out of 100 would say, yes, our call volume has gone up. But to the point to where we don't have time to do station projects, like I don't think so. Maybe there's definitely a few houses in this country that run 25 to 30 calls a shift. And it's like, no, we don't have time. We literally leave firemen at the station so they can cook us dinner. You know what I mean? Like we go to a call without a fireman so they can cook us dinner. I've heard rumors of that. I've never done that myself.
Certain departments do, yes, but that's a rarity.
That's I'm talking, that's the one end of the spectrum, all the way to the other end of the spectrum.
If you're that busy, you probably don't have time enough to slow down to eat, but that's a different story, right?
No, exactly. Yeah. So, but my take on doing station projects is we should try to do as much as we can, I think. And it becomes down to the pride of being a fireman, and we're fixers, like we fix problems. That's what Doug said in the last episode, right? That's what firemen are. We're problem fixers, and we like to do our own things. We do our own things at home. In fact, like in my own home, if something goes wrong, I'm going to try to, if I don't know how to do it, I'm still going to YouTube it. I mean, I just greased my wheel bearings on my RV. Never thought in a million years that I'd ever do that. Have I ever done it? No. It was my dad teach me when I was 10. No, I never had RVs. And I heard that, hey, I read on a forum, like you need to check your wheel bearing grease because, your hubcaps can get hot and blow your tires. And I'm like, well, excuse me? Like what? So I went on YouTube and I got the grease gun. I put grease in there, got in there and got dirty and greased my wheel bearings. And at the end of it, I was like, hell yeah. I
felt safer because of it, right?
Well, I felt safer, but I also felt proud that I was able to do it on my own.
Right.
I thought that was freaking cool. I didn't send it over to Holland RV and pay $1,000 for them to grease my wheel bearings. And there's probably people out there that are like, I could grease wheel bearings in my sleep. Well, yeah, but maybe you can, but you can't do something else that I can do really well. I don't know fucking know. But I was proud that I was able to do it on my own.
I tell you what else, and when you said pride, it didn't hit me until then. But I think one of the biggest things for me that I think what happens is that people are more likely to take care of things, right? Think about our rigs, right? Like when we wash it, when we maintain it, we're more apt to want to take care of it, right? Like, I mean, because of what it is. And I get it. Sometimes we like the reserve, we talk smack about it. We're like, that thing's, ancient and whatever, but when it's in service, it's still our rig, right? And we take care of it. But if we're in a station or whatever, and we're tasked with taking care of it, I think we're a little more apt to put a little pride behind it, right? Because it's our job. If for nothing else, for the smack talking, right? You don't want the other shifts to talk smack about your paint job or the way that you had a project of doing anything. I mean, think about the things that you've seen around the station that have to do with station pride. Somebody builds a table, right? They put their heart and soul into it, right? Because of what it looks like. And that's where I said I'm totally on the fence about this, because I think what it would do is it gives ownership. And when you have ownership like that, that's almost a morale booster, right? And so, like I said, I see it, but at the same time, I think it also goes back to the craft. And I'm not the ops guy and I'm not overtraining, right? So like you give me a rope and you tell me to tie whatever, I'm going to stink at it, right? But if you need a budget done, I'm your guy. So when it comes down to it, it goes back to there's that balance, right? You've got to make sure that firefighters can be firefighters first before they can be electricians, right? So you start with some of the simple things, right? And you give them that. And you also ensure that they can go and be successful at their job at the same time. And once you evaluate that, you say, can firemen be firemen, right? Before they can be electricians. And if the answer is yes, then you let them do those things.
I love it. I think that's great. I had a really comment from somebody I work with last month that really rubbed me the wrong way. he stated basically, so one of my guys did something that he didn't like, whatever. He didn't like anything, but he mentioned to me, hey, I saw this. And he goes, and this is why we kind of make fun of you guys about, so a lot of our guys are into CrossFit and they have these apps that do the timing for them, right? And a lot of the apps will go beep, beep, beep. And so certain people can hear that going on and they just roll their eyes because they know what's going on, right? It's an hour and a half of PT. And it's like, should we be doing beep, beep, beep if we can't do X, Y, and Z? And I was like, that came to my mind when you were saying, basically are we taking the time to train and do our job correctly as opposed to fixing the dishwasher or the garbage disposal, right? So right. I'm just going a little bit different direction. I feel like PT is just as important, if not more important than training. On right. certain discipline in the fire service. I think that, being healthy and staying fit is a big part of the fire service. But what was the other part of the question that I was going to address? I don't even remember.
I don't remember. I will tell you this, for us, the big thing, and I get it. Like I said, I started almost 25 years ago now. And I started in 2002, so just 23 years. The 22nd, so whenever that is, July 22nd, we're recording on the 20th. So in 2 days will be 23 years. I'll have finished my 23rd year in the career service. But in general, when we started, every Saturday was a deep clean day. We deep cleaned the bathrooms. I had a station captain, like I said, we had pine trees everywhere in our front, all the way around our firehouse. So we would get up on the roof and we would blow it off. We had a flat roof fire station and we would get up and blow the pine needles off out of the limbs. We would, wipe down the windows and stuff. And so, yeah, we didn't cut our grass, but we made sure that if it was anything that we were responsible for, it was right. Right. And so I guess what I'm saying is that, we may not have the ability or the control to do all of those things, but what we do have control over, we should be good at. And I think when we start talking about those company officers, like those little things like that, those station duties, those station prides, take pride in them, right? Like if you're responsible for stripping and waxing the floors, be good at it, right? Sure. Take it serious because, the reality of it is that when above the brass comes in and they take a look around, that's our moment to shine, right? When the community comes in on the station tour and they're walking around and they're looking at things, that's our moment to shine, right? Because at your house, you may have the lawn stripes and you don't get to do that at the firehouse, but what you do have control over, you should take pride in. Right. Yeah. And I think that's one of the best things that we can do. Same thing, whether you're talking PT training, hose bed, the way that your hose blades are, those kind of things. Right.
Yeah. And we talked about this before we started this recording, Brian, was what type of engagement, what type of comments are we going to get on this podcast and or on these clips that we put on social media? And it's going to be probably a bunch of chest pounding firemen saying that, we should be doing everything. We should be cutting the grass, fixing the plumbing, the electricity. You got a problem with paint, fucking paint it, which is fine. I would love that passion for the job. I'm just here to tell you that there are some cities and some fire departments that just don't want you to do that, just out of either A, liability, B, there's always a more efficient way to do it. Typically government it that way, but there's just always more than one way to do it. And a topic that we're talking about station maintenance and projects, as menial as that is still a fun conversation to have and to learn the differences between what goes on the East Coast, the West Coast, from this country, this county to this county, this big department, this little department, volunteer fire departments. How do they do it? How did are the volleys more in charge of their station duties because they're not a full-time crew? I don't know. I know that 80% of this country still is volunteer, and a lot of it is, Midwest, South, East Coast. We don't have a ton here, except for in the, smaller rural towns on the West Coast. But the one question where I was going that I'd lost my train of thought on my last rant, Brian, was why? So it seems like nowadays that, guys will get off work and they go home, right? I feel like I've heard stories of 20.
I think that's a West Coast thing, but go ahead.
Okay. And I love that. And it's going to be a good conversation. 20 to 30 years ago, I've heard stories of then on in the history that they'd go help so-and-so with a wood deck. They would go help so-and-so build a barn. If they needed new flooring in their bathroom, hey, can you come over and help me? Yeah, of course they can. They go, they have a few beers, they do their tile, and they would call it a day. Today, you don't hear any of that. All you hear, at least in my department, I mean, we're having kids like we needed to survive. I don't know if we've figured out yet what creates children or not, but I'm telling you right now, we have like a child a week in my department, and we're only 36 people. You know what I mean? And I ain't having no more children. I'll tell you that right now. And maybe that's what it is for me specifically is, I don't talk to other departments besides on this podcast, and this is going to be great. I can't wait to hear your response to this, because a lot of the guys are like, I mean, there's like no pickleball, no getting off work playing volleyball. We're not doing PT off duty together. Like, we're not hanging out. And that's mostly because we have young families. I mean, even my kids are 12, 10, and 7. And I still feel the need to get home and be with the kids and help them out. But I feel like even firemen 20 years ago had young kids, but it was okay. It was like acceptable. It was part of the culture for them to get off work and drive their old beat up V8 down to whoever's house and help them build a trench because they're going to put in new sprinklers or something. You know what I mean?
I'm going to go through this real quick, okay? Because we only had 4 stations. But when I started and I got assigned to A shift, I'm going to go through the list real quick. Not like per person, but real quickly. At station 1, there was 2 guys who cut grass, okay? Out of an 8 station, out of 8 people. 2 guys had their own lawn care business. Station 2 had a lawn care guy and a guy who laid flooring. Station 3 had a lawn care guy, a guy who worked for installed sales for Lowe's. So he did garage doors, storm doors, whatever. And then another guy drove an ambulance. So he had a side gig. That's what he did. That was the top guys. The other guy there worked for the community college. Station 4 was a guy who cut grass and a painter. That was on my shift. Now, everyone else in between was young guys and usually helped someone else on their days off. Like for me, I helped a guy who laid flooring at station 2. So when I got off from work, I would go home, change clothes real quick, drop my bag, and then go meet the driver from station 2. So the other firefighters usually worked. Those were all the senior guys on shift. Those are the only people I gave. Everyone who was senior, the younger guys, worked for the senior guys on that same shift because we had the same schedule and we filled in. So, I mean, that's how it was. Today, the majority of those people work other fire department part-time jobs. That's what they do. And I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. The reality in the 24 years that difference between now and then is burnout is much more real today than it was 24 years ago. Because when you work a 24-hour shift and then you go work 2 10-hour shifts and then back again on another 24, and that's on a 24-48 schedule, and you see that much of the fire department and so little of your family and everything else, it's not good. It is not good. And I truly believe that that's what's gonna happen. So that's the difference between 24 years ago and today, just in that short little span. You take that same world, and again, very few people own their own business today on that same shift. I bet you there's only 1, maybe 2 people, maybe 3 that have their own business. And if they do, they're working it for a little while. And because trades are so short and in high demand, they'll usually end up leaving the fire department because they're young and they see the dollar and they don't see the benefit of the benefits, if that makes sense. I'll say that again. They don't see the benefit in the benefits. they see the benefit and the money, and then they leave. And I've seen that happen before, where guys will be like, oh, man, Chief, I just make so much more money on my days off. And, I can work 3 crews of lawn care guys. And so I need to go and manage those crews. And I'm like, yeah, but what about your retirement? What about your health insurance? What about, yeah, but I can buy a medical insurance. And I'm like, yeah, but you have no pension, right? You have nothing. So that was the beauty, is those guys 20 some years ago. And this is what I talked about, the problem solving on last week's podcast. So if you haven't watched it, you're listening to this one, you didn't listen to 116, 115. If you haven't listened to 115, you need to go listen to it. That was the benefit of me years ago, is we would sit around the table at night and we would talk about the whys of staying with the fire department for the benefits of the benefits, right? And reading your pay stub and looking at, man, what's my 401k doing? How much more what's my multiplier? If I leave at year 25 versus 27, what does that look like? And you don't see it in year 5, right? But if you shut up and you listen, man, you learn a whole lot to your benefit, right? Yeah. So, those trades, it's amazing. And I tell people right now, if you don't want to burn out and you want to stay with it because it's the coolest job in the world, go back to school. Go back to that same community college where you picked up your Fire 1 and 2 cert, pick up an HVAC cert, pick up an electrical cert, pick up any one of those certs, and go do that on your own, on your days off. Man, you will make a killing. Yeah. The beauty of the future is you can repeat the past in a good way, right? It doesn't all have to be bad. And we can go back to that world that we lived in. And I think it's for the good, right? And that's not just some old guy saying that, right? In the fire department, I think it would be to our benefit, because the call volume, right? Like we're running these high call volumes. It's to our benefit, right? And it's what's going to be able to sustain ourselves. So when it comes to these trades, and it's to our benefit, right? We can help each other out. I mean, just think about it. If like I said, if we worked together and I was an electrician and you were a floor guy, it's like, hey, I mean, I built my house in 3 months and 10 days. And you know why? 20 years ago, the majority of guys who helped me build my house were guys at the fire department. Yeah. Right? I put them to work. The only guy who didn't do that was the framer. The electrician was a fireman. The painter was a fireman. I laid my own flooring because I had done it before, right? Because of the trades that we learned, right? We were in it in 3 months and 10 days, which was unheard of back then. Yeah. So we could really help ourselves out a lot by doing that.
It's my gut feeling that it's going, everything that I've seen in the fire service in the last 20 years, it always comes full circle. What you're doing now, and then what you're doing in 2 years, and then what you're doing in 5 years, it feels like it just goes around a circle. You know what I mean? Right. Hey, we're going to put this couch over here in this corner. Oh, the couch was in that corner 10 years ago and we didn't like it. That's why we put it here. We're going to do it anyways. Like there's new guys. We got guys that retired. So now those retired guys that had the couch in that corner that had already moved it because of what X, Y, and Z, that's what happens. Right. So everything comes full circle.
We're seeing that with fire trucks right now. Right. Yeah. Like you look at the specs on a truck. You're like, I don't want to wait 3 years. Well, if you could live without this, this, and this, I can get it to you in 2 years. Oh, okay. And if you could live without this, this, and this, then I can get to you in 12 months. Oh, okay. Well, do y'all care? No, we don't care. Okay, well, then we'll get it to you in 12 months.
Yeah. Well, so what I see happening, and this might not age well. So we'll go back to episode 116. When we're on episode 1000, you and me, Brian, we'll come back to 116 because I want to see how this ages. But my feeling is that kids are going to start getting into more of the trades. Like of old. A, because everything comes full circle. And B, we're kind of pushing families. We're kind of pushing kids to do this because college is so gosh darn expensive. And the culture and what people have been talking about, I think that college is worth it. Now, going and paying $80,000 a year at whatever, I think Kelsey, my wife's cousin, goes to Wake Forest. And they told me that out-of-state tuition at Wake Forest in North Carolina is $80,000. So you're telling me that you're going to get an undergrad, a 4-year degree in underwater basket weaving is going to cost you $320,000 plus whatever other expenses that you had outside of that tuition. That is effing crazy. And I am telling you not to do that because you put yourself in that much debt, you will never get out of it. Especially, the government ain't helping you out. Oh, the government's going to give you a loan. Yeah, it's still like 6, 7, 8%. Good luck.
Sure.
Good luck. I would I'm going to push my children. I think it's still important to go to college. I still think that it's important. I just finished college at 41 years old, but and I got it done. I thought like it was like a good milestone for me to accomplish in my life. And so I'm going to push them to go to community college unless they can get a sports or an academic scholarship. But there's tons of awesome 2-year associates. They can get their associate's degree, get 2 years out of their way, and then transfer to a college, and then we'll get you that experience or whatever, right? I still think it's important. But because of college being so expensive and this culture that we're talking about, no, we don't need to go to college. Firemen don't need to go to college. Like what is a 4-year degree going to do? It's just going to put you into debt. That's the culture. That's what people are talking about college. So what are they going to do? They're going to start going into these trades. And for another reason why they're going to do it, Brian, is exactly what you said. There's hundreds of thousands of jobs in these trades. If you want to be a welder, you can go be a welder and make $250 an hour because nobody else is doing it. So you're a self-contractor and you're like, hey, I can do it. I can do underwater welding. I mean, that's like a big one right now, like boats and stuff like that, barges. You can go make $250. I don't know this for sure. Fact checkers out there, fact check me, but it's an astronomical amount of money per hour because nobody's doing it. And I think that it's going to start swaying towards that way again. And of course, the fire department's always going to stay desirable, because of what you said also, Brian, about the benefits and the pension and setting your family up long-term. That's one of the reasons why I love being in the fire service, because I feel like I have security for my family, which is amazing. You can find that in a lot of places, but being a fireman here, at least on the West Coast, provides me for that. And I make a pretty damn good wage. And I'm excited about that, but I don't know. I could see kids going more into the trades because of that.
I want to give you something that, again, specifically Mike Rowe said in his little clip that had me go do a little more research about him, was he said, so many people are afraid of AI, but the one thing about trades and AI is that AI cannot do the work of a trade, right? It can do the work of coding. It can do the work of writing a book. It can do the work of, customer service. I mean, AI has gotten to the point where you drive up to a drive-through, it will take your order for you, right? Yeah. It can't make the food, right? But I mean, not yet, but I mean, in one sense, automation is taking over a lot of things, but AI can't put the fire out. It can't wire the building. It can't lay the flooring, right? I mean, it cannot do these things. It may make the product that can do it. Mm-hmm. So again, we need to prepare ourselves, right, for our lifetime, at least for the foreseeable workforce lifetime, to put ourselves in a position to learn a trade, to do a job, to market ourselves, to be able to do that. And so for those folks that are listening, I'm like you. I have one son who's 14, and he's like, Dad, I don't think I'm gonna go to college. I think I want to work on HVAC. And I'm like, dude, spot on, right? Like, yeah. I get it. Yeah. And, my oldest son, he's thinking criminal justice, right? And, he's thought about a cop, being a cop with a criminal justice, and maybe even the white collar side of it, right? So maybe like SBI, ATF, something like that, or maybe even a street cop, right? Or starting out as a street cop and then being a detective, which is fine. I think it goes back to their security in that. I mean, he wanted to do stuff with sports, but he also understands that part of it evolves so fast, right? That even at 17, what is it going to look like in 3 to 4 years? He doesn't know. But what he does know is, and kudos to him at 17, is he gets it, that he needs assurance if he's going to, put me or his or himself in debt in college. He needs the highest return on investment of that debt. Right. And so the same thing back for these projects. And that's what the whole point of this conversation is about, right? Is what is the benefit of that, right? What makes you the most marketable, right, to the fire department? When you sit down and you do that interview and they say, hey, what other things do you bring to the table? It's like, I'm well-rounded all the way around. I can run my own business, right? The AI can help you run a business, create a business model, can help you manage, run the books, but people have to be able to do things, right? And the pride that comes from that stuff that we just talked about, and that's what helps a lot all the way around. So,
dude, yeah. I love it. I love it. Great conversation. And that's kind of where I felt like it would go. We just organically kind of, meander through that topic. And I would have loved to hear what Doug and Anki and Fred have to say about it. But, it's just the two of us today. So that's what you got. But a good topic. And so, call to action would be to, get on and comment on our social media posts on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, regarding this topic. I'm not exactly sure what the clips are going to say, so I can't really go that far, but let us know, how your fire department does, like, station projects, and do you have a budget for it? How do you guys pay for it? Do you have $1,000 a month that you can just, go out and spend without having to get, what's the word?
Where are you going there? I got a call to action specifically is for those who are listening, if you have a trade and you work, what is your trade? Nice. Right. So like, what do you do on your days off? So with that little East Coast, West Coast difference, what are you doing? Right. Are you working another fire department gig? Or are you riding the transport ambulance, or, you laying flooring, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love it. Very good, Brian. We're coming up on an hour here. It's been episode 116. We appreciate all of you guys again. So we'll say it again. You can really help us out if you hit that like and subscribe button. There are still a fair amount of people that we've seen that are listening to and watching our podcasts that aren't subscribed. So if you could do that for us, that'd be amazing. We want to continue to grow our community. And also just a reminder that Brian and I, actually, and Adam and possibly Doug, will be at Safer in Raleigh, North Carolina. Brian and I specifically have a leadership class that we're putting on the 8th. So it's going to be super fun. I think it's from 2 to 3. I guess I should probably know this before I get on the podcast.
I think it's 2 to 4.
2 to 4. Yeah. Oh yeah. 2
or
hours.
3 to 5, something like that.
Somewhere
Friday afternoon.
Yeah, come find us. Come find us at Safer. We'd love to say hi and meet you guys. Before we leave, Brian, and I just remembered this halfway through the podcast, but we had a guy reach out to us on TikTok, and I want to bring this up because his 6-year-old listens to our podcast.
Oh boy.
I know. And that led me to think about all the nasty things that we say on this podcast. His son's, huh?
We.
Oh yeah, me. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Doug.
So this guy, his name is Ronald, and he said, "Are you guys going to be at Safer this year?" I said, "Yeah." Well, are you going? He said, "Yes." And my son are going, and we heard y'all say that you're going, and we want to meet you. And he always asks when they get into the truck. His 6-year-old always asks if he can listen to the Fire podcast.
Awesome.
And he said he's 6, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So he said, is there any way you can get him a patch from like a station that you guys work for? I go, absolutely. So we're going to put our heads together for, his name is Rhett, Rhett. So Rhett, this shout out is for you. I should have done it at the beginning of the podcast, but of course I forgot.
Hey, Ronald, do me a favor. Send me a message, please.
Yeah. Send Brian a message at East Coast Kelly's. If you listen to this podcast. Otherwise, we'll reach out to you again. So I told him we'll hook Red up with some really cool stuff. So
let's do it.
Very cool for him to send us that message, and a little eerie that a 6-year-old's listening to my profanity. So I'm going to have to be a little better at that. But shout out to
Ronald. Got to hit
Ronald
and
Red.
Ronald and Red. I love it.
All right. Very good, folks. That has been episode 116. We appreciate you all, and we'll see you guys next week.
Roll it, Gigi.
Roll it, Gigi.
Before you leave, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and give these firemen a huge thumbs up. Also, make sure you check out thecoolfireman.com for more. Thanks!